intelligence, where the business must have the correct intelligence for it to make better decisions. We are also going to say along the way the importance of understanding the people or the audience you are trying to connect to, the audience that will be listening to you, the audience that will be making decisions based on what you have generated. And of course, that we are saying, how do we visualize and how do we tell the story, and so on and so on. So we need to start by asking a question. I'm posing a question up there. I hope you can see it on your presentation side. And the question I'm asking is very simple. Is narration and storytelling the same? Is narration and storytelling the same? Can we have comments on this? Is it the same? Is narration and storytelling the same? Any comments? I'm just getting back to the people. If you have a comment, karibu sana Catherine, I can see you. Catherine, good morning.
Good morning, and I'm happy to be here. Just to
Fantastic.
help, put maybe a context to what I understand. I'm just trying.
Yes.
As narration and storytelling the same. You see, narrating something is very reflective and it's relative because you will tell the story the way you see it. But when storytelling, to me, the way I understand from the context, storytelling would be the data is already there. You know, data doesn't lie. So this is what it is saying. You know, if we are looking at aspects of losses, it is a loss. That's a fact. So we can't tell that. But when we narrate, we try to give excuses or we try to put meaning into possibilities that, oh, you know, these maybe excuses would be more in line with the narration, but not the storytelling. The data will be real and it will always state the truth. That's my take.
Thank you, Catherine. Anyone else, so that we can just get the perspectives? Yes, Akumu, I can see your hand is up. Please proceed.
Good morning, Mwalimu and colleagues.
Good morning, Akumu.
I do believe that they could be the same, but there's a small distinction in that with narration, you could be abridged versions of what storytelling is about. Storytelling is very elaborate. It might take you through the longer processes of a situation that you want to present. But when you come up with a narrative, you just come up with abridged versions of what you feel needs to be presented or needs to be analyzed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So you are saying the narrative would be brief and storytelling is more engrossing. Thank you. Mwike says that in narration, you are basically recounting events as they happened. Storytelling brings in an artistic way. An artistic way, meaning you are trying to really weave it in such a way that it can be understood. Anne says storytelling is more descriptive. So Anne, you better tell us the other side of the story as well. You've given us one side only. Any final comments to storytelling and narrative? Any other person? Any other person so that we can proceed? Okay. So if we don't have further comments to that, we are saying between storytelling and narration, narration is of lower value. Narration is of lower value because in narration, you simply are stating the series of events. You simply are saying it as it is, and it is more linear. It is more linear because you are moving in a very clear sequence. And in narration, it tends to take out the audience because what you're interested in is to say the story as it happened. You want to say something as it happened. You want to put it down as it happened, and it doesn't have an emotive connection. So what we're saying, a lot of narration is simply about telling. You are simply telling. Simply telling. Now, storytelling on the other side, as Anne had stated earlier, is where you are now engaging the art part of it. And the art part of it is you are going out of your way to convince, to make it compelling, to show the why you must on board, to show the why you must support me. So we always see narration as more of something scientific, whereas storytelling is more artistic. And for those of us who have done a lot of research papers and everything, any paragraph you put below your table, that statement you put below the table you drew, the statement you put below the table you developed is actually a narrative, because you are simply saying table 6 above shows the data and it is showing the following items, and you quit that space. So what are we saying in storytelling, therefore, is that in storytelling, you are engaging the audience. You are connecting with the audience. And your biggest assignment is you are selling, you are sensitive to the audience's feedback, you are good to go on discussion, and you are able to align the two parties to an agreement that will create the solution you're looking for. So ideally, from these two perspectives, in your infographics, in your presentation of whatever metrics and analytics you run across, there will definitely be a narrative. However, you do not stop at the narrative. You do not stop at the narrative. You now got to escalate your narrative, and you escalate your narrative by now telling the story. And colleagues, that is where we have failed the tests, because we will do a very good narrative to the charts and diagrams and everything we have presented. However, we are not bold enough to take it to the final stage. And the final stage is where now we onboard the audience and we sell to them our thinking. We convince them, we make it compelling, and from there, they're able to join the side of the story we wanted them to join. So our session today will be focusing on the higher level engagement, tier 2 kind of engagement, and the tier 2 kind of engagement is the storytelling. there's a microphone which is on. If it could be muted, I don't know which one it is. Just check your microphone, colleagues. Okay, thank you. Now, a fortnight ago, we talked about this scenario, and we said that we are moving you people from data and metrics. We are just moving you from data and metrics into, are you able to give us and make questions? Are you able to derive questions and hypotheses? And from there, you do the analytics, then you provide the insights, and then you provide the actions. Still some microphone which is on somewhere, is it? Colleague, just check your microphone, please. It is beeping. I hope, yeah, the microphone is beeping. Let's keep them on silent. Now, where does narration first and then storytelling come in? Narration and storytelling comes in the moment you have commenced deriving insights, because those insights is where the data analytics is now telling you the story. The analytics is communicating to you. The challenge, therefore, is, are you able to pick up that challenge and communicate what the analytics are saying to the outside? Because the analytics will talk directly to you. You get the reports, you look at them, you see the trends, you see the comparisons, you see the correlations. But then that is you seeing. The question is, are you able to communicate it? Are you able to share it? Are you able to engage? Are you able to connect in that space? Our challenge, like we said last time, is we want you people to move from the low value and easy descriptive analytics. And you escalate your value, you escalate your engagement to the high value, slightly difficult predictives and prescriptive analytics. The organization wants you to assure them about the future. And the future is in the predictives and in the analytics. And your job is, are you able to tell the story in such a compelling way that people who are listening to you will buy in, people who are listening to you will support, and people who are listening to you will sponsor your intentions. That has been our challenge, and we talked about it last time. So let's see how it moves on. This is just a continuation of what I've said. Now, just a reminder again, last time we talked about this environment, and I put that arrow at the end of it, the big arrow. And the big arrow is saying, colleagues, when we mix you up nicely, we put all those 11 elements in you quite well, we expect you to become an exceptionally good storyteller. Someone who can weave the narrative, someone who can make the narrative compelling, convincing, and easy to onboard, so that we can become a team and we can move in the right direction. So that we said last week, we don't need to worry about it. Now, I also need to listen from you people when we say visualization. What is to visualize? Any comments? Again, I'm coming back to you. Any comments when we say visualize? What do we mean by that? I'm watching my participants. Just put on your microphone and engage.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, Zipporah.
Hi. Maybe if I can go on visualization. When you talk about visualization, my take would be, it's how best you can describe data visually. Yeah. In terms of, for example, if you're running analysis, data analysis, we have those numbers. But then if you were to bring it now to the simplest terms, how would you do it in terms of being visual, in terms of presenting your data in graphs and all that, to simplify? So that's it.
Yes, Zipporah, thank you. Catherine, I can see your hand is up. Ngambi?
Yeah, I would probably look at it from maybe what you put us through. If you are able to look at that data and visualize in as see what that data is saying, like a HR, I think this also thought line came in through the HR partnership issue, that you are able to read and explain to the board, not in tech terms, but you are able to look at, say the way we have these courses, finance for non-finance persons, you are able to say in a language that people can understand. Because if you use tech language, then you lose people, but you are able to give every level that you are giving the information to in a way that they are able to understand and see the concept.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, that is my take.
Thank you. And Jen says that visualization is where you map something to the situation. Anybody else? I'm watching the screen. Visualization. Now, the dictionary meaning to visualization is about making something visible to the eye. So visualization is about making something visual to the eye. And I like, I like the comments I've received so far on this, because we are saying that visualization must start in your mind. Your mind must be able to see it. So you are not going to do data visualization. You're not going to do information visualization, and in your mind, you have not seen it. And colleagues, to me, this is very, very important. If it is not in your mind, then you can be sure you're not going to tell anybody else what you're thinking about. So visualization is something which must be visible to the eye. It must start in your mind. And that's why we are saying you must form a mental image of the kind of picture you want to share. And Catherine has said it correctly, that the mental image must be devoid of complexity. It must be devoid of jargon. That mental image must have its voltage highly set down so that it is palatable to the user. It is easy for it to be assimilated by the user. And in that environment, we are talking about a big area now called infographics. And we simply saying that if you get it right on visualization, it is like collapsing 1,000 words in a simple visual image you have presented. And this is so, so important. If it is not in your mind, colleagues, it will not happen to other people. And in a say clearly that for you to thrive in the environment of metrics and analytics, you must not be so good in running the actual analytics. However, you must know what you want. And then the HRMIS or the data analyst in our dockets, the young boys and girls around us, they will really deliver that environment. Focus on first in your mind, then eliminate the jargon, eliminate the complexities, step down its voltage, and then you can be able to take it to the next level. So visualization is like that. And in the space of data and everything, we are saying it is data visualization. It is that act of taking your data, of taking your information and presenting it as a diagram, as a map, or as a graph. How do you present it? When you do that, then you have done visualization. So it is very graphical. And the key thing, like we have said earlier, is are you able to make it easy for other people to comprehend? A very, very big point is that mental picture, which you have now translated from the mind into a diagram and a chart. Is it carrying the same meaning you intended when you thought about it? Or is it conveying a different meaning? So visualization is where your mental image must come out on paper, and then it aligns to the user so that you and the user are able to be on the same tangent in terms of seeing the items you want to see. And what are some of the things then that will come out when you put the visualization correctly? Is we will start seeing patterns, we will start seeing trends, and we will start seeing something weird, something unique, and maybe we will go asking more questions. The more questions, meaning the what, the why, the when, the where, and of course the how. Last time we talked about it as an interesting area of the 5 wives and 1 husband. So we are looking for patterns, and those patterns should be able to come out. So remember earlier we said that you must narrate, meaning you must present it as it is. However, you must then weave it around and make it a compelling, highly negotiated engagement where it becomes storytelling. So you don't stop at the narrative, you move to the next level. And in my chart, which is on the screen, you can see we are saying for you to do storytelling, number 1 is you must understand the audience. I'll just run a ballpark discussion around it. You must understand the audience, and then of course there's the narrative, and then there's the kind of data you're dealing with, and then it is how will I present the visual format that I want. When you put all those perspectives together, the communication, the narrative, the data, and the visualization, then storytelling is what comes out. So storytelling is the apex. It is at the top of your finesse in terms of competencies as a leader, because you can understand your audience. You can be able to narrate. You have the data. You can even do the graph. However, if whatever you have done does not come out as a compelling engagement, it does not come out as something you are able to sell, something you're passionate about, and something which is highly emotional, your artisticness will never allow you for it to come out, then you have not told the story. And I know, because I've worked a lot with my colleagues in HR, we are very good at narrating, like we said last time, and notoriously descriptive statistics, the history of everything. However, we do not escalate it to the predictives and prescriptives, where now we can weave a story and tell it as it is. So it is important we focus on that. Now, if you check my presentation, just continuing on that tangent, you can see number 7 is visualization. And once you visualize, the story starts coming out. Once you visualize, you can see the patterns. You can see the trends. You can see the comparisons. And all that is about the infographics. So we want now just to start looking at this space in detail, understand what are some of the issues that are required, because to me, this would be the game changer. So the question is, why is visualization very important? And I'm getting back to you for opening the discussion platform as well, so that we can engage on the chat and also by comments. So the question is, why is visualization very important, colleagues? Feedback, either on the chat or just comments. Why is it very important? Comments are welcome. Catherine, your hand is up.
Yes, visualization tends to give an overview.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to summarize. It has a summarization aspect of what we are talking about as a whole, because you are able to see it in one illustration, rather than listening and trying to tie up the two ends. So it has a way of a summary, and it also induces decision making. Forming decision becomes not delayed, because you gain in on time, because you can see the whole picture from an illustration. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Catherine. And Simon is saying, when you visualize, you're actually helping the business performance, because you're simply giving the status of the business as it is, and of course the issues that need to be attended to. And the issues that need to be attended to will be now the issues that are rising out of the predictive and analytics. Akum, you're saying it helps you to connect to the audience. So you onboard the audience via visualization. Any other comment? Faith, you're saying it helps to simplify, so that decision makers can be more effective, can be quick and accurate. Simplicity of what you wanted them to know. Christine, you're saying it of course enables us to have clarity. And very, very important, Christine, your point is so key, because we are saying that it then instigates further discussion. And you have used less words very well. You're simply saying it helps us to use less words. It helps us to use less words. I'm watching maybe for the next 30 seconds. A comment or on the chat, or something from someone before we proceed. Jen, you're saying to identify the bottlenecks, and the bottlenecks, of course, will be maybe in the patterns and the correlations. Okay. So let's just go back to our presentation. And we are saying that number one, visualization is very important because it makes it easy for your data to be understood. It makes it easy for your data to be understood. And colleagues, as leaders and managers, your job is to be understood first before you understand. We must spend a lot of time trying to be understood before we understand. Meaning, I need people to really get what I'm saying before we can move on. So the data must be understood before the people can understand your selling, before the people can understand your perspective. And it is very, very important for that. Of course, visualization makes your data to have a meaning, very, very big area. And it saves you on the number of words available. It saves you on the time available. So it is important you're looking at, am I able to talk the story in my numbers? Am I able to have my data understood? Am I able to save time and be accurate? Then, of course, better decision making, which has been said, and we are saying visualization makes it easy for you to share, and whatever you are sharing, it should be easy for it to be digested. Then there are more comments here. I'm just running them through. I think this is important. The human being tends to comprehend something that is graphic easier than a lot of narratives. So that is one thing. Very quick to understand. And look at that bullet. When you do visualization, it gives you the opportunity to pause the moment. And when you pause the moment, people start internalizing your perspective. As opposed to a narrative. A narrative is where you move. But the visualization, you can actually put a graph up on the screen, and for 10 minutes, you will be running a highly interactive discussion on the emerging issues. So the visualization helps you to pick people's minds in a less stressful environment, because we are not chasing time. We have slowed down, people can engage, people can process, and end of day is whatever arguments you are proposing, whatever you are putting on the floor for people to understand, it will come out very well. And you people have told me as well that it is simply making sure your story is simple. So, for your data to be better understood, you need to query certain areas. And the areas will start from you saying, what is it you are seeking to understand? What is it you're seeking to be understood? And for you to do that, you need to have the end in mind, which we said last time, that analytics is about having the end in mind. Why are we doing the analytics? We are doing the analytics because we want to understand a certain perspective in the business. And that perspective in the business will come from the data collected. So the questions you will ask are those ones. You will ask about what trend am I trying to pick? What comparisons am I trying to pick? What correlations am I trying to pick? And so on and so on. You have to start asking questions around what you will be doing for it to make sense. Another set of questions will be those ones. we'll be asking questions about what are the variables? What are the variables in my story? What are the independent variables? What are the dependent variables? What are the variables that once manipulated, they can affect other areas? What are the variables that even if you manipulate them, they will still be standalone? And then, of course, you'll ask yourself, what is the best way to analyze the data so that we can get and we can move to the next level? So this to me is very, very important. If you don't understand the variables, then there's nothing you'll display for us. You'll not do as a chart, you'll not do as a diagram. It will just be something you're going through the motions. So what are the principles? What are the principles? Number one, we are saying that the purpose of visualization is communication, and communication where the audience buys in, communication where the audience sponsors, communication where the audience onboards, so that you can have a critical mass for the change you want to instigate. And one of the principles, very, very important, say no more, say no less. Sometimes the data is overwhelming and so exciting, where you're sitting, you're saying, boy, 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 this is it now. I am going to do so much. And sometimes that excitement blocks you from the objectivity you are supposed to express. You are so excited. Maybe it is something you've been telling the organization, and because there was no data, they were denying. And now the data is saying, voila, we are home and dry. We are confirming what has been said. The data could be so exciting. The story could be so exciting. Remember, you got to focus on the true north of your purpose. Why am I presenting the visualization? So be very keen. In number two, we are saying don't mislead. Don't mislead. Do not manipulate the data beyond what you have. Do not change a decimal point. Do not change a whole number. Do not choose a visualization tool, say a graph or something else. Do not choose a tool that is likely to mislead, and we shall be seeing samples of what kind of the misleading that is likely to happen. So in my opinion, misleading could be two-way. Number one, it could be deliberate. You tweak the data to fit your story. And number two is where the choice of visualization you have taken is not sufficient enough to tell the true story, and therefore it is giving another direction. And that direction will mislead decision making. You also need to choose the best method to use. If you want to demonstrate a trend, and the trend is coming from the descriptive past, and then it is extrapolated into the future, the best item to use in that space would be something like a line graph. So you don't go doing a pie chart, for example, and you want to show us a trend. You're looking for comparisons. Comparisons is where there are two items and you want to show how they relate to one another, whether one is higher than the other one. You don't use a line graph. That is where you would now use something like column bars and so on and so on. You want to show relationship by the correlation between items. The correlation between items will come out very clearly if you use something like the scattergram. It will bring it out very nicely. And when you want to show something where you want to show it as a component of another bigger family, then please call in place your pie charts, and it will work out quite well. So we run foul of that. We choose the wrong items and then the wrong tools, and we run aground very fast. So when we are facing the big boys and girls. Number 4, very important, minimalists and simplistic. Minimalists and simplistic. And I want to come back to you people. When we say minimalists and simplistic, what exactly are we talking about? Minimalist and simplistic. What is minimalist? What is simplistic? The floor is open, please. Meanwhile, we had comments from Vivian, where she said the visuals will enable effective communication. And of course, very, very important, you can understand the story at a glance. So, when we are talking about minimalist and simplistic, I just want to pick some names randomly. Catherine first, and then I'll call upon 1 or 2 other people. So be on standby, I'll call you. Catherine?
Okay, the people that normally data to make decisions is presented to are people who with lack of time on their hands, and they need something that can speak to them very quick and very fast. So giving them endless spreadsheets of how the story came to be where it is not the idea. What they want is for you to do summaries that speak, 1 pages, 2 pages, that this is the position. And for you to come up to it, there is this graph which gives a summary, and this is what the story is, so that they are able to make decisions. So like the board, when you are presenting to a board, the board don't want stories. They first of all, you are paying for them to sit. So they want it quick and then simple. Keep it simple and stupid for anyone to understand. And so that the board is able to make useful decisions. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And Catherine, you are saying you keep it simple and stupid, simple and specific, all that environment. Caroline Mushiri, you are saying minimalist and simplicity is about just going straight to the point. Faith, you're saying it should be precise and to the point. And colleagues, the way we have said, the board does not want a story where you are telling them, I think. The board does not allow you to think in front of them. They want you to tell them, I know, and I know based on the numbers that have come out. And because I know it this way, my proposal is this way. And for whoever is interested in getting further details about what is emanating, I will attach a more detailed narrative elsewhere, either in the appendices or something like that. So when we are talking about simplicity and minimalism, it is about being to the point. It is about being to the point. A lot of the board members we work with, sometimes they tell you, young man, young lady, when you come to us, just bring us the options you're proposing. The rest of the story we will read later. Because we know there's a story, we'll read later, please give us the options. And we are now coming into the space where we are encouraging you people to have what we call the one-pager stories. Can you tell your story in 1 page? And you tell the story, tie the recommendations around it, and move. Because the same way Catherine has said, the guys we are dealing with, they are very busy, they are very expensive, and interesting enough, their head is so full of issues, there's no space for you to start meandering and going round and round with issues. They want it very precise. They want it very fast. So in statistics, we say your minimalist and simplistic tendencies, they must be so minimal, the same way a bikini is. Sometimes you look at a bikini and you wonder whether someone will fit into it, and colleagues, people always fit into it, and it is tinky winky, very small. Another principle is, of course, where we are helping the reader see fast what stands out. So whatever is standing out, make it glowing, make it unique, so that the connection can happen very fast. The audience can connect and they can run in the same direction. And of course, we are saying use very few visuals. We will move on. That is pretty obvious. I'm looking for something here. I want us to look at number 2. And just generally the space in colors. Colleagues, some of us are very notorious. We have a problem with the colors. We love colors. And some of us love very aggressive colors, very combative colors. And you will take it out on the audience by telling them, this is my chance to do the graphs and share everything. And this is how my colors will be. Just be clear, especially point number 2 and point number 6. There are colors that are considered very aggressive. There are colors that are considered very welcoming. So in the principle of minimalism and simplicity, we are saying no more than 3 colors in a single layout. However, the choice of the color will really break or make your discussion. So which colors are friendly? Which ones are fighting? Which colors do we go with? Which colors do we run away from? Comments? I will just call out a name. Ndugu Simon, we've been with you since morning. We were the first ones to log in. Tell us about the colors. What is your opinion? Simon. Then I've seen Lillian has unmuted. I'll come to you, Lillian. Or you're just
Mwalimu.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here. In my opinion, I think the colors which can be used for visualization are the ones which are not sound to be more active. I think those which are not active, they are the ones seem to be good for using for visualization.
And which ones should they be, Simon?
Yeah, I think the color which were not active, we have like orange, blue. Yeah. You cannot use red or you cannot use red.
Yes, red. Red is punching.
Yeah.
You are declaring war. You are telling them it's an emergency. It's very critical. Arthur also supports blue. Yes, thank you. Colleagues, which other colors? So we have blue. Blue is quite, it's mellow and nice. Faith, I can see you looking at me, Faith M, because I can't see you. Your video is on. Okoa Jazi hapo. Faith has gone off. Purple, Clive says purple, Vivian says green. Those are the friendly ones. Jen, I can see your videos on. Jen has disappeared. People are just coming on and off. Mary says colors that are not too bright or dark color, yellow, colors not too bright or dark color, light colors, yellow, light blue or light green, yellow too. Blue, green, Janet says blue, green are friendly. Rosemary is on yellow. So which color should we run away from other than red?
Good morning, William.
Morning, Sambu.
I want to look at it from a rather different angle. I want to look at it from corporate colors, because I think colors also do speak to industry that different organizations are. For instance,
yes.
red might be very aggressive to people in maybe the health sector, but red might be the appropriate color maybe for people in the hospitality industry. Assume I don't work for KQ. For example, KQ corporate color is red.
Yes.
And red might be very appealing to their presentation, because that is the industry they are in. At the same time, Kenyatta National Hospital has a lot of blue. So if you brought red to Kenyatta National Hospital's presentation, it might look off the theme. So I think it is also about the industry you are in and the corporate colors of your organization.
The brand.
Yeah, the brand of your organization. You want to come up with colors that that shadow, or they also speak to your brand. They amplify your brand. For instance, you realize that most of the financial industry, they are in blue, gray, and those kind of colors. Yellow may not work for them, but in telecom, orange and yellow might be very, very good. So
welcoming,
yeah, because I think the color speaks to what you do for a living. It speaks to your brand. It speaks to your theme of what corporate, and sometimes it also speaks to what you want to present. Thank you.
Thank you, Sambu. And I can see Rosemary and Akumu are agreeing to that. Sambu, I agree to that perspective. However, remember that, for example, if you're doing a PowerPoint, already the PowerPoint could be in your corporate colors. Most of us, the corporate PowerPoints are highly customized. So you got to be sensitive in the sense that you do not overdo the colors. You can imagine maybe, like you said, we don't all work for KQ, maybe someone else does, but you can imagine their PowerPoint slides having a significant component of red, and then you get in and start punching that same environment with red, then out of nowhere, you could find yourself having overdone it. So it's a very thin line. At what point do we say the corporate color is at home, and then it is aligned to the other colors of the visuals, so that the visuals and the corporate color do not create a significant density of one color that can then be slightly unwelcoming to some members of the audience. So thank you so much for that, Sambu. And it is important, like we have said, you need to understand the corporate colors. And then you need to ask yourself, what other colors would really mellow and work nicely in this environment? Otherwise, if you just do the corporate colors throughout, you could run into some challenges. People, are you able to see my slide now? I've returned it. Feedback, are we seeing the slide?
From my end, no.
Okay, I thought so, because my system sometimes not yet. Just a second, I should be able to bring it up. It should be up now. The slides should be up, correct?
Yes, it is visible.
Yes, Mike. Yes.
Thank you, team. Item number 5. Item number 5, especially the last word, decoration. Colleagues, just because you left computer school the other day and you were taught about all the ways in which you can decorate, visualization for the board members and senior leadership will be the wrong place to take your practice of decoration. Some of us, I remember we were taught borders and shading and the likes. Oh, and you get a one-pager and it looks like a mosaic that has been done by a grade 1 child. You know, the colors are all over the place. The page is talking. Do not decorate. You state it as it is. Those gentlemen and ladies who are listening to you, they don't have space for decoration. They want you to help them make a decision. So sometimes we do something and we then over decorate, and that creates a very big issue. So to me, number 5 is important. And of course, number 4 is, remember what we said, the corporate color will be the significant one, maybe on the PowerPoint slide. You got to make sure whatever else you choose creates a friendly contrast between your corporate color and the other colors. Number 3, we shall explain, don't worry, we shall pick it up when we now arrive at the examples of visualization, what is the best and what is discouraged. So I wanted us to stop there. If there are any questions, please, you can put them on the chat. I will pick them. On visualization, Milka says you need to consider what you want to portray because there are colors with a lot of optimism and colors with a lot of pessimism. There are colors that depress the conversation. There are colors that encourage a conversation. So that is something we need to really align with and see how it happens. Good. So colleagues, we will take a break. 10 minutes, it is 09:45. I want us to take a break of just 10 minutes. So 09:55, we will start the next session, and then we will now go into the different options we have at our desk in terms of visualization and everything. Thank you so much. Keep the conversation going on the chat in case of any emerging issue. Thank you. Hello, team.
Hello, Mwalimu, we are back.
Hello. Fantastic. Thank you. Colleagues, we are back. Thanks, Sam, for that heads up. We are back now for another interactive journey to see what will be emanating. Now, I hope people can hear me, and I'm just checking my systems. I think everyone should be able to hear me. So colleagues, my internet had some interruption. I hope you can hear me. Let me know, can I be heard?
Yes, please.
And what about the PowerPoint? You can see it.
Yes, we
Hello,
can
the
see
PowerPoint
it.
can see?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
Thank you. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Sorry for that. My internet had a disruption, but all should be well. Now we're coming from where we were discussing basically the background, because now we want to go into the nitty-gritties of everything. And in the background, we were talking about analytics as being the source area from where our presentations, our visuals will come out. Remember, we also said about the visuals, it has to start in your mind. If your mind doesn't visualize it, then you will not be able to put it down on paper. Another item which has come out from the colors, thanks to the contributions from Sambu and the likes, is that we have the corporate colors, so we cannot lose track of what the corporate colors are all about. And I think our question is, how then do we get other colors that will contrast quite well with our corporate colors? Otherwise, there'll be the screen, whatever we're trying to display, will be overwhelmed by maybe one color. So that is what we said, and we just want to proceed from there. Remember, we said also, because this is important, that the narrative is a linear kind of engagement. You're just presenting issues as is and you move on. Whereas the storytelling is where you're now making it compelling, making it sellable, and making it convincing for other people to onboard. In terms of data storytelling, you have to go through the 3 stages which are on the screen. The 3 stages which are on the screen is the hook, the climax, and the resolution. Colleagues, remember, you are telling a story. And for you to tell the story, you must capture the attention of the audience with your visualizations. You must capture the attention of the audience in the first few moments, meaning you must hook them up. And you hook them up by telling them the background to your story. And the background to your story is what precipitated the data that you collected, what made it an important aspect for you to collect. Was there a crisis? Was there a gap? Were there question marks? So when you onboard us, you just don't start by presenting the story and going through a monologue of it. You really got to dig us deep and tell us whatever has precipitated the issues, maybe challenges at the workplace in terms of performance and productivity, and you set out to discover patterns. Maybe it is a challenge of talent retention. Maybe it's a challenge of leadership development. Could it be a challenge of absenteeism, presenteeism, and the likes? Because you need them to look up. And the hook is very important. Just the same way, even your CVs must have a hook. Your CVs in the first opening statement, it must be able to hook me up. So the hook is actually what onboards everyone. And then you go to the climax of the story. And the climax of the story is now, what are the insights? What are the findings? And remember, we said in our last session, people rarely argue against numbers. You present the numbers, nobody will argue. And that's why in our first session, I said, you don't go there and you say, I think. You go there and give us the revelation that is found in the numbers, which is the climax. And of course, from there, you give us the resolution. So basically, we are saying in the setup and the hook, you are giving us the context and the background. My colleagues, there's a microphone which is on. Check your microphones. There's one which is on. Thank you. I think it has gone off. So we are looking at the hook, and the hook is where you're giving the context of the story, the background to the story, the pain points that made it happen. It didn't arise out of nowhere. It arose out of a need, and you present the need. And then you give us now the arising revelations, and the revelations are supported by data. And then you tell the audience, in terms of the prescriptives and everything else, the prescriptive analytics, you now tell the audience what is the way forward. What are the proposals? And as you give the proposals, remember, your proposals must demonstrate the risks inherent in each one of them. Your proposals must demonstrate the outcome you intend to see and the impact that we should enjoy if implemented. Your proposals must give us options. The options are weighed on the risk vis-a-vis the returns, and the returns are the outcomes and the impact. So where you really need to make a case, I'm just taking you back, where you really need to make a case is in the loop that is up there. Because if the loop which is up there is convincing and statistically it has integrity, it has coherence, it is accurate, the resolutions will be very easy to buy. They will be very, very easy to buy. However, if your rising insights are scanty, they are inconsistent, they are not aligned, they are not flowing in all directions, you can be sure your resolutions will run into serious headwinds. And you might be thrown out of that meeting, told to go and come back with better information. We need to know, pay attention to your insights. Make sure your insights have a lot of data which is supporting. And I'm not sure whether we talked about it last time. The environment you have to deal with when you're dealing with data, so that you have less opposition, you have less queries on the authenticity and reliability of the data, is to have data that is highly triangulated. triangulation of data. In statistics, triangulation is where, when you set out to collect the data, you use a variety of tools. You use the questionnaire, you use observation, you use all those tools available, focus group discussions, and so on and so on. And triangulation says your insights must be arrived at only when the data from the various sources talks a similar story. If the data is not talking the same story from its various sources, from the diverse sources, please do not arrive at a conclusion. You need to go back and ask more questions to get the right answer. So the data that is what we call discordant, it is running against the grain of thought, the train of thought. It is not confirming what is coming up. Don't escalate that data into the space of resolution, because you will run into trouble. So it is something I wanted you to note at the climax, the concept of triangulation, deploy diverse tools for data capture data from a diverse set of sources, then bring this data and let it talk the same story. And once it is talking the same story, give us the resolutions. It will work quite well. Okay. So what are some of the tools in visualization? We just want to go deep diving in this environment. The popular tool which we use for visualization is, of course, the pie chart. It's quite popular. And the pie chart allows you to show the contribution of a part to the whole picture. The whole picture is the 360, and the part is the little percentages you're seeing. So the pie chart is very, very important, because I can see at a glance what is having a significant share of the whole, what is having a very little share of the whole. And then in your storytelling, therefore, you don't just need to put the pie chart there and leave it. And we can actually now demonstrate how narration and storytelling will come up. We can demonstrate. In the space of narration, you, on the pie chart you are seeing, let me narrate to you how a narration will look like. Narration will say, for example, that the item in blue, we can give it a hypothetical name, maybe a department or something. We can say that department A, XYZ is the one leading with 34%, followed by another department at 24%. And then the departments with the least contribution to whatever factor you're looking at will be department Z with 5% and department X with 6%. Colleagues, we have done a very nice narration, fantastic narration. The question is, so what? You just don't tell us. We are all seeing 34% is the highest. We are all seeing 24% is the next. And we are all seeing 5% and 6% are the least, respectively. Narration is like a monologue. You are talking to yourself. And we have effectively narrated the story. We have effectively narrated that story. The question is, if I want you to then tell the story, which is a continuation along the stream. It is a continuation of the narrative, but now you are telling us the story, you are telling us the compelling issues, you want to sell to us something. I want to invite my team, anyone who is ready to give us a hypothetical story to the pie chart and the narrative. Anyone? I will put up the pie chart, so if you want to tell the story, just put on your microphone and proceed. Anyone to tell the story? People, are we there? I don't know, am I on my own? Catherine, I can see you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, do we pick our own scenario, or we try to relate with the pie chart that you have there? That we put a story inside what we are seeing here. Because if that is the case, then probably you are looking at, there is a crisis in HR, there is a very high there is a very high staff turnover. And so you begin to look at recruitment, the exercise of recruitment, where has it been mostly concentrated on, where the turnover is. And now you put departmentally, and probably you see maybe in sales and marketing, there was 34%, staff turnover in terms of how many people left the organization and you had to rehire others and all those kind of things, maybe followed by finance. People are leaving in the organization, through the various departments that you have. Maybe we have marketing, maybe we have sales if it's a big organization, then we have production, and even in production, who are leaving. So even as you portray all these percentages of this one is the highest staff turnover department. Of course, it begins to say what is happening there. Is it the leader? Is it the way the staff are treated? So the details would be now in why do we have this department being a thorn in the flesh? Because again, every new person who comes in must be oriented. Yeah, they must be oriented. So you are spending too much time on training of the new staff. So then you see the least department, yani people, there is hardly any turnover. So what is so good maybe about the supervisor there or the manager of that department or the organization as a whole? What is the strength of satisfaction that is with the people in that particular department? So it gives a case for you to begin to analyze maybe the factors that drive the turnover in terms of the supervisors or the managers of that department or the rules of the organization as a whole. Yeah. I don't know whether I'm left or I'm right, but
yes, no, you are you are actually on the rails. Because if you are to just step back a bit and say, for the same pie chart, we want to narrate. So we shall say this is employee turnover by department, that is the story. And we shall say sales and marketing are leading in employee turnover, followed by finance, followed maybe by admin and operations. And then the department with the least turnover could be maybe the lab. That's an example. I'm just picking an example. So narrating, you will have done your part and you quit and you run off very fast. But storytelling is to say, what is the issue behind 34% in sales and marketing? And you look at the cause and effect. What could be causing it? And what could be causing it is maybe challenges in the market. So our people are having problems to sell. Maybe we shall look at a new product line we introduced, which we didn't onboard in terms of product knowledge. We didn't onboard them very well. We can even look at the demographics and say, as a department, it is one of the departments with the youngest fellows in our labor force. The average age group, they are very young, and so on. Zip, you put off your microphone, your video. We can see you doing your hair. So you can now tell the story. You can then go to the lab and you say, why is the lab having the lowest turnover? Why is the lab having the lowest turnover? And you can explain, maybe we are looking at scientists and they derive more excitement in R&D. They take their time to deliver findings, whereas in sales and marketing, the pressure on performance is instant, the pressure on productivity is instant, and so on and so on. So the story will form that way. Zipporah Masharia, your video is on. We can see you with a salonist around you. Zipporah, please. Okay, Zipporah will put off her video soon, I know, I am sure about that. Colleagues, so we can continue. It's not Zipporah, it's Caroline Sunday. Huh? Is it Caroline Sunday or Zipporah? Kuna mtu video yake iko on, tunamuona kwa salon, eh? Kama uko kwa salon na video yako iko on. Okay, so colleagues, this is a clear demonstration. This is a clear demonstration on how you do the narrative, and the narrative must lead. It must lead to a story, and the story must be compelling. The story must be wonderful. Thank you, Caroline. It was not, sorry, I thought it was Zipporah. Apologies to Zipporah for that. It was Caroline. So the compelling story must come, and we are seeing the pie chart like that. Now, I got a set of 2 pie charts I want to share with you. I will give you some moment to look through them, and then you people will tell me what is right, what is wrong in those 2 pie charts. You can put your comments in the chat, and you can put your comments also in the, you can put your comments in the, you can just talk them out. Zipporah, apologies for that. Sorry, my dear. I was reading my screen wrongly. I hope you're able to see those 2 pie charts. Take some moment to interact with them. Tell me or tell us what could be wrong. Tell us what is right. Some 2 minutes, please, just to study them and tell us. Please, comments are welcome on the chat box so that we can interact with them. I'm seeing comments coming through. Catherine says, definitely the principles are violated. The colors are quite many. Thank you. And the contrast is quite significant. Thank you. I'm picking more comments. Too many categories from Caroline Mushiri. Yes, true. There are so many categories, so we have really fleshed out even the nitty-gritties. We've really split hairs and everything. Akumu says the data range is quite wide, and you're also saying, you're just wondering if the gentleman can tell the differences in colors. Now that we are chronically colorblind, we hear you, Akumu. We are in a remedial class. We will manage you at that level. We are picking the comments. Simon says the item on the left, the pie chart on the left, is clear for visualization. However, the one on the right isn't clear in terms of arrangement and understanding. Lucy says, of course, too many colors. Dr. Paris Koge says visibility is lacking and the pie charts look too busy. Janet says too many colors for analysis. Faith says the charts are too busy. Many categories, many colors. Janet adds that there's overcrowding, which is so true. The data is highly overcrowded, and so on. Thank you. You can see, and this is where some of us, of course, are notorious. We want to say everything. And like I said in our opening remarks, you could be so excited that the data is talking what you have really wanted to always say. Excited about it. And you try to now say everything so that you can tell these people, but I've been telling you, the data is now speaking. And you run into those headwinds. And the headwinds is you give us a pie chart that is very busy. A pie chart that requires me to really look at it. Lucy, your microphone. Lucy, if you can hear me, check your microphone. So just because you're so excited that the story is coming out the way I wanted, it doesn't mean you put it all there. Catherine, you have picked out something interesting, that there's no category called other. And in research, sometimes you find that category is getting more percentages and everything. You wonder then, why did you put others instead of just picking it out? So this is one item. Ezekiel Mutai, you are saying very true that this pie chart is making it impossible to tell the story. It is making it excruciatingly difficult for you to tell the story. When you look at it, Jen says, when you look at it, it is pretty hard to the eyes and everything. You feel your mind is congested, your eyes are overwhelmed and everything. Colleagues, remember Akumu's comment whether the men will be able to segregate the colors effectively. Look at the pie chart on the right, where we have some colors that are very hard to distinguish one color to another. So that is an example of a pie chart that has gone extremely wrong. Also, the design of the pie chart itself doesn't allow you to pick what is being talked about. You can have that pie chart which is really flat surfaced, and you can have a pie chart which is 3D, like the one I shared to some extent is 3D, and it segregates the data quite well. So colleagues, let us not get excited because the data is saying what management has been resisting for so long. You are now going to bombard them with everything so that they submit to your proposals. It is not that way. We have to drive a pie chart that is easy to look at. And this pie chart actually fails our test of simplicity and minimalism. Because even things which are quite minute, like in the second pie chart, items that are really at 1% and some of them even maybe not so consequential, they're still being featured. They will not aid in decision making. We can't make a decision on these pie charts because we will spend a lot of time trying first to understand them and trying to get what was being said. So this is an example of one. I want to bring up another item. We are looking at another sample, which we are calling the bar graphs. And a bar graph, like we said, is very easy. It will allow you to show comparisons between various sectors of your variables. The bar graphs will make it very easy for you to see that. It is something which is, we love using them. So they can be vertical, they can be horizontal, they are displaying categories of data, and they are simply telling you there's a relationship, and in this relationship, there's one item which is more than the other. You can, if you are quite ambitious, you can now superimpose a line on top of the bars to help you more with the trend analysis without actually over-congesting the bar graph. So the bar graph would look like that, and it is communicating effectively. So we have, sorry for that. We have, where is this now? My system is, let me just reset my system in a bit. I think it is bringing Manenos. Yes, I think we should be there. Just a second as we set up this system. Kabla ilete matatizo. Okay. So we have, I have put there a set of bar charts or bar graphs. And I want you again to engage me in the chat or microphone by helping me to understand where have they gone wrong. And there are 6. So colleagues, when you point out one, pick the one we shall be going clockwise from the one which is extreme left top, and we go clockwise like that. I will encourage you to put on your microphones as you do the chat as well, and let us engage and say why we have put a massive cross in that space. Any comments? Please put on your microphone and talk. I can't see you now because I'm on my system. I'm displaying the chat, so I can just welcome. Once you start talking, I will listen.
I think if I can, if I can go, the first chart.
Yes, Catherine.
There's not, apart from the bars, there are only 2 colors. But we don't see a narration. We don't see it being compelling, because one thing that you have said is when you use diagrams, it needs to be compelling. So first of all, there are only 2 colors, and they are not even attractive. Then the other one is, well, the bar is the other way around. And still the same kind of concept. Maybe the person wants to you are making people become analytical, because then you are not keeping the principle of simplicity. You're making people begin to want to understand you. So it's not clear. So as you go on, the other one has all the colors in the world, like you're trying to do something like a rainbow. And so there are very many colors there, and they are also dull. They are dull in the sense that they don't attract the eye in a positive manner. So we see that kind of even one color hue that that when you see purple, you see different shades of purple. So instead of putting different colors, you've decided purple, you love purple, so you feed them with purple, like the way we do sky blue, navy blue, baby blue, whatever blue, because we love blue. So we want everybody to be like us. So that one is a selfish presentation. Yeah, and I think that's what I can say for now.
Yes, so the colors are not the contrasting in the colors is not so friendly, and like where they have just used purple and the different shades of another color bottom right. Of course, it's quite interesting. Peter says they are not telling any story. They're just pasted there. Even the axes are not talking. We're just seeing numbers. We're seeing letters. In the middle top middle, we're just seeing male, female. Nothing is happening there. Akumu says the first one is comparing 2 variables, and each color represents a variable. Of course, however, they're not telling us the variable. And Carol Moshiri says they are simply not communicating, and they are not expressing anything. They are not interesting to look at. Any other comments, maybe from via the microphone, as we look at this scenario? The gentleman, will you be able to distinguish the colors when they are presented to you as a homogeneous color, just different shades of it? Gentlemen, us and colors is our deathbed. That one, it is important. Now, the question also I want to ask is, and you will tell me, if we are sensitive to community and politics and everything, should we also watch out to use colors that could, in a very subtle way, be communicating something that maybe is very aggressive to an individual? For example, we have the stories of the LGBTQ. They are becoming quite intense in Africa and everywhere. And the colors for LGBTQ. So the danger is, could you find yourself using those colors? And innocently you think you're helping out, but someone takes it as an offense. Any comment on that? Welcome, please, via microphone or chat. Any comment?
Walim, maybe a word, a comment? Good morning.
Sambu. Good morning, okay. Sambu.
Okay. So I think for me, yes, you have to be very careful with the colors that you use, because colors are about communication, and communication is not only what people see, but also what they think from what they see. Not only what you tell them, but also the innuendos and the insinuations. Yes. For example, the good example you've given, LGBTQ, yeah, that could be a very serious issue. Then the other element would be also religious organization. For example, you realize that, and I'm just calling randomly, if you're a Catholic, there are colors that are used at different calendar events. And you may end up finding yourself maybe using red when you're supposed to be using purple, or using purple when people are on red. And the other element would be also issues around maybe political. For example, now orange would be easily perceived to be, for lack of a better word, for example, in a Kenya setting, would maybe be ODM, and yellow, and another color would be UDA, and another color. And sometimes, whereas you are trying to communicate and you use those colors just for the sake of your presentation, people may not be listening to what you're telling them, or seeing the information you're telling them. They might be thinking that maybe you are a pro certain group of people, or you are trying to communicate a different message from what they are listening. So colors are very critical, and how we use them is very serious. For example, even when I look at the charts that you have shown, the first one, the green and red, you realize that those are colors that if you go to the Far East countries, especially like Israel, they would not want you to. They would not want to see those kind of colors, because they are related to maybe Iraq, Iran, and they have their own political, historical issues about those countries. And maybe, for example, you would just be doing a presentation, you might not even be knowing. So what I'm gathering from this session is that it is not just using colors. It's not enough just to use colors. It's also about to ask yourself, so these colors that I'm using, could there be other insinuated meaning of these colors, so that I don't just use color for the sake of using colors? Thank you.
Thank you, Sambu. Very, very significant. You got to think global. You got to think global in what you're choosing. And of course, you act now within the local space you have, and the local space is yourself and the audience. And for sure, some people are very sensitive. They'll take it as an attack, because they'll say, now this is one area I'm a sworn enemy to it, and you're bringing it up. Therefore, I'm disengaging. I'm not participating anymore, and they will take it personal. So sometimes we run into those challenges, and you got to be aware of your environment. So your social intelligence, your environmental intelligence must be very high. Like you're saying, Sambu, is in Kenya, the politics have brought in some levels of sensitivity that some of us are having difficulty comprehending. And I could just put up something, but to someone I could look like I'm promoting a political party, or I'm insinuating they're useless, and then you run into trouble. So it is important, friends. It is not just about they showed me how to color and I'm going to color. It is, are those colors acceptable? Are they fitting into the space, into the community environment where I'm working? Are they talking nicely to the audience that is listening to me, and so on and so on? That is one thing we really must be aware of. So on the extreme left of the charts, now I've brought in some comments, and of course it is what we've just said. Number one, it is you be very careful how you color your charts. Very, very careful. We've said that. Where you provide the axes, please be very keen not to rotate the axes. The axes are the labels you put on your chart, on the bars. And the labels could be to your left or to your right, or inside the bars themselves. We are cautioning that when you put the labels, do not overly rotate them. Do not make me to bend my neck, to really change my posture for me to interact with the label you have given us. Now, the other thing on number 3, which is relating to the bar chart in the top middle, is when you have negative values, sometimes it's good for you to put negative values and every other value on a vertical axis rather than horizontal. You can imagine if we take the chart which is in the middle top, where the pink, I have issues with the color, so if I don't get it right, you go to excuse me. Where the pink is the positive, we are just assuming that where the pink is the positive and the blue is the negative, if you give us that visual, it will not communicate things the way we want. And the same is on the bottom extreme left, where the green is positive and the red is negative. You are not communicating. You're not communicating. Yeah. And number 4 is we are saying never ever have two-way horizontal bar charts, now like the male female in the top. And then where you are using a data range, make sure the data range does not distort the story. You are not having the data range in such a way that the significance of a value is lost in the meaning. Looks like it is truncated, looks like it has been cut, because you got to really expand. For example, a value could be so near 0 that if your data range is not correct, when you present that chart, the chart is just the same line you're seeing. There's no bulge, there's no raising up. The 0 and the horizontal line are on the same continuum, and you really can't tell whether it is an empty space or it is somewhere where there's a chart. So it is something we need to really interact with. Make sure the color is correct, make sure the data range is correct, make sure things are significantly contrasted. So Peter, you said, of course, the chart doesn't give you any narrative, and because there is no narrative, you are left to make your own hypothesis and everything. Now, we also have the line charts, and we said where you're doing the line charts, you are giving us the descriptive, which will be mostly historical. And from there, you are trying now to send us into the future through the extrapolation of the line. You are trying now to say, if the trend continues this way, this is how the line will move. And then you're doing for us a trend analysis. And you can have several lines where one line is the real line, and another line is where your variables are being manipulated to show how it is changing. So we will have a line graph. And we are saying that it is just connecting various data points to show us the true picture in terms of descriptive data, and to show us the future if that trend continues in terms of maybe the predictive direction. So the line will allow us to see those various points, and it works very well. So we have another story there, and as always, I really like the way we are indulging each other. Have a look at those two. Have a look at those two, and let me know what you think. What are your comments on they're bad? Tell us what makes them bad. You can put your microphone on if you want to indulge via the microphone, or you can drop us a line on the chat. Akumu, you are saying the plotting on the y-axis is poor. Akumu, for which line graph? Because there are two. There's the one on the left and there's the one on the right. Comments, colleagues, we are doing very well.
I have a bit of noise on the apologies. There's my neighbor has a wedding. So there's a lot of background noise.
But we can't hear it. We can't hear it so much. You can proceed.
It, huh?
No.
So on the first graph, I feel like now
carry on. Yes.
The plotting is way below on the is represented very on almost on the lower end of the graph, by reducing the range, and eliminating using my 100 70 watt. I can't see very well. I'm also using my phone, sorry. Would have been able to see the plotting would have come out clearly.
No problem.
So I was speaking about the first graph on the left. Yes.
So the one on the left, the y-axis is not in terms of significantly thought through. So looks like everything is right on the lower side, and yet the scale allows for so much, correct? That's yes. What you're saying, Kumu, I gather. Thank you. Simon is saying that, of course, the colors are not correct. Simon, could you let me just see if it is you with a follow-up comment on that. You're saying the right-hand side arrangement is bad and doesn't reflect good understanding. So this is the graph to the right. Thank you, Simon. The colors, Simon has a problem with color. Simon, could you just unpack it a little bit more, maybe via your microphone?
Okay, thank you, Mwalim. The left bar chart is the colors is the problem because they are not active. Even the numbers are not clearly seen. Therefore, it is due to visualization. It's not easy for anybody to understand what was the intending visualization process. Then the bar in the right-hand side, it is having poor arrangement. It is requiring a lot of thinking for understanding, for the visualization. Maybe if you are intending to present in front of the people, it will be difficult for them for his understanding. Despite maybe there are some other areas I can see he has tried his best, but the way he arranged, the numbers are not clearly seen, are not clearly understood to what was the intention of those numbers, maybe from the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So that's so.
And you can also see where the rotation of the axis labels for the x-axis. You really got to go into a bending mode for you to interact with the labels that have been provided, and which we said when you rotate, you don't have to overly rotate. You can rotate them at an angle, but this one has gone right into 90 degrees, and people have to keep looking sideways and back, then sideways and back for them to interact with the system. We are also seeing, I think, a challenge in the color mix where you got a yellow and a red and a blue, and it's not just a plain blue. There's a 3D on the chart on the bar, and there's a 3D format. So that 3D format on the bar, maybe it is something someone was taught in computer school, and they're just trying to bring it out. Picking some comments on the line, on the chat. Lucy, you're saying the second graph, I presume it is the one on the right, is not easy. Yes, you have to bend your head, you have to tilt, and you have to do so much of gymnastics. Janet, you're saying the left one, the data visualization is not clear. You can see it, it looks blurred, yes. And you're saying there's too much on the y-axis for the one on the left, and too much because the data range has not been well sorted. Akumu says she doesn't mind the one on the right. She sees there's a story, but the one on the left is misleading. Whereas you have to plot the y-axis. It has an allowance of up to 100, and yet the data series is a maximum 25. So that is coming out, and it is coming out quite clearly. So colleagues, the option would have been very simple. For the bar, the chart on the left, if the sick days were also aligned, so that we would see how the two lines, how close they run parallel to each other, and of course even how far they run away from each other. We are not able to see the relationship. Ideally, they should have given us two lines, one for the sick days and one for the average sick days per employee, so that for comparison purposes, it becomes very easy. Catherine Ngambi, you are saying the one on the right is communicating, but its combination of bar and line is wrong. And of course, the colors are dull. The one on the left will make you get thrown out of a meeting. If you really want to get thrown out of a meeting, just present that one. You'll not know what hit you. And most probably, once you're thrown out of that meeting, your boss will be told to see how they can manage you into the future. And managing you, including maybe asking whether you are a critical, you can be done away with quite easily. So please don't you dare do the one on the left. Okay. Then we have, this is just to summarize what we've been saying, where you are looking at the bar chart for comparison, the line graph for illustrations and of trends and everything, and the scatter plot is to really help us understand correlations between two variables and to help us move in the direction we want. Good, colleagues, we are due for a break. It has come very fast. It is, I think by my clock, it is 10:53. I suggest we take a small break. We convene at 1100 hours, and we now finish with a 10-minute, 15-minute item, and then we will wish each other a wonderful weekend. So the break is declared now. We see each other at 11 o'clock. Okay, people, we are back. We are back for the final 10-15 minutes to wrap up our discussion this morning. Thank you for hanging in there. I know we got other challenges, those at home, those elsewhere. Thanks for being available so that we can now proceed and close the discussion. And we were somewhere where we just shared the emerging issues. I'm trying to get my head up. If you're able to see my slide, this is where we were, where we said if you're doing a trend analysis, you do the line graph. If you're doing comparison, a lot of it would be the bars. Correlations would be scatter relationship, and of course the pie, where we are showing how an item's share of the big picture is. Just a reminder also that we said you have the option of just telling them, which is narrating. You also have the option of telling them and selling it to them, which is very preferred. Now you start the storytelling. And of course, in the process of that, you will do the consultation. You will agree as a team. You will advise. You will inquire further what they think about it. And in some cases, you might delegate a few things to some other people, maybe to pursue further. This is something I've just put up for just to create a change in the direction we are going. So now we have our narrative. First of all, now we have our visuals. Our visuals are done very well, so they are good to go. Then the visuals have enabled us to provide a narrative. So we have provided a narrative. The narrative has helped us to tell a story, and we have told the story. And now comes the challenging part for some of us. And this challenging part now is, how do you present your story? How do you present your story in terms of your presentation capability? And presentation is the saying it out. How are you saying it out? So we will look now at a key area, and that key area is your presentation skills. Because colleagues, you can have a wonderful visual. You can have a very precise narrative. You can have a convincing story coming out. And then you will be let down by how you say it out. And the how you say it out is an art. It's an art, and it comes via practice for some of you people. You must earn it through practice. It is not given that you wake up and just do it. So I want us to, in the next few moments, before we open the space for discussion, I just want you to indulge me in presentation. What, in your opinion, would be the essentials if you are to make a wonderful presentation so that your story just wows everybody? They accept and say, you know what, you've done your job, we are going to make the decision. So I want to open the chat room as well as the microphones. Let us talk about presentation. what are the essentials in presentation? You can put up your hand, you can put on your microphone, you can do something in the chat. Essentials of presentation. I'm hunting down for anyone to start us off. Remember, you haven't gone 360 yet. We have done the analytics, we have done the visualization, we have done the narrative, we've developed a very nice story around it, but how do we say it out? Caroline, you're saying you need to be coherent and confident. I presume, Caroline, when you say you need to be confident, it means, other than the literal meaning of confidence, where you need to tell your butterflies to give you a break, those butterflies that tell you jump, jump, jump. To me, confidence is where the content that is coming out of you looks like it is coming from your DNA. You look like you own it. You demonstrate passion for it. So it is important. It is not just saying, you know what, God help me, I'm going to stand in front of these chaps, and the only thing that can finish me is lightning, I will talk. That is just the tier 1 level of confidence. The upper tiers of confidence is where you demonstrate ownership of what you're saying. You demonstrate belief, you demonstrate commitment in what you're saying. LNN, you are saying simplicity and clarity, and of course you avoid jargon. And jargon is only good when you are dealing with the peers. Like if we are in our fraternity as HR practitioners, we can throw in a jargon around and get away with it. However, if you are talking to your audience, and some of them are non-practitioners in the people and culture space, then you better onboard them with simple words and very clear language. Vivian, of course, amplifying that same area, same line, you're saying, please use language the audience will understand. Thank you. Any other comments? We are looking for comments. You can put on your microphone, you can put it in the chat. Thank you so much for what has come through.
Mwalimu?
Yes.
Can I maybe say that your presentation?
I'm looking for who?
It's Akumu, sorry. Akumu.
Yes, Akumu, carry on.
Your presentation should be...
Yes, Akumu, I can hear you. Carry on, please.
Your presentation should not... what is that font?
Akumu, your internet is breaking, or is it mine? Akumu? Okay, Akumu seems to have communication problems, challenges. Akumu, when your network is sorted, or you just made a slight adjustment where you are, you should be able to get back to us. LNN says, of course, you visually attractive. Now, LNN, remember now we are saying what is coming out of your vocal cords and your body language. So I would take it that you yourself, you must be dressed in a way that convinces people they're dealing with a serious chap. You don't look like you've just been liberated from a party and you just joining the session so that you can then go back and proceed. Yes, Akumu, please type. I think your internet has an issue. Jen, very important, first impressions, and first impressions Is you the person? Do you look like a product that can convince someone? Do they look like they made a big decision and a good one? To have you let it run, to have you run the show is very, very important. So first impressions matter. Yes, Akumu, you are saying the presentation should be clear on the subject matter and not make any assumptions. You are not making any assumptions, and so there are certain words you need to delete from your space. Like I said earlier, the word which says I think should not feature anywhere in your presentation because I think is not a scientific engagement. You also need to remember certain words which will depress conversations. An annoying word which sometimes we throw around is the word but. But is a very bad word because it kills the rest of the conversation after that word. Be able to attract the audience from your first engagement, first presentation. The way you stand up, the way you talk to them, the way you show respect for them, because respect is two-way. Respect them for their opinion, respect them for having actually come just to participate in what you're doing, and so on and so on. Very, very important. Okay, what other items can we talk about in that space? Let me see. I got one or two other little items we can add as we continue. We are talking of some of those areas. Some of them have been talked about. Some of them have been presented in the chat. Lina, you're saying, can you demonstrate conviction and enthusiasm and energy? And remember, the energy must have a boundary. You don't look like you're on steroids or you are powered up by some spirits. You have to be very careful because they'll be scared that the next thing you're going to fall on them or create a health and safety incident. Akumu, you're saying, of course, be deliberate in your presentation and tell the story. Tell the story. Looking at what I've put up there, we need empathy. Empathy is important. You need to be very sensitive to the participants. Like we said, you are looking for very subtle cues. Have I onboarded everyone? Am I moving with everyone towards the desired direction? Could I be stepping on sensitive toes? So you have to be very careful, and empathy is where you really understand their perspective. Sometimes you make a presentation and someone genuinely says they're having challenges understanding, they're having challenges seeing, especially those who are having challenges understanding. You might now need to paraphrase some of the words you have used. Maybe it's a jargon you dumped there, you might need to paraphrase it. If someone is having a challenge because you're moving too fast, you need to slow down. A challenge because whereas everyone has understood, them they're yet to understand, you also accommodate them effectively. Creativity is important. And creativity is as you are on the floor, as you are making the presentation, are you able to be a step ahead of the session? Asking yourself, how do I keep my team lively? How do I keep my team engaged? How do I keep them attentive? So you must be thinking around the corners. You must be thinking around the challenges. If you see you are losing some of them, because adult learning principles say we have a short span of attention, you be creative enough to onboard them. And one of the creative areas in which you can involve them, of course, is a lot of participation. Make sure you allow them room to also engage others. And we have tried here severally. We are saying you can tell a joke, but this is a very fruitful and equally a very dangerous space. Very fruitful in the sense that you can tell a joke that will resonate well with the participants and they will like it. However, you could also tell a joke that is intruding into someone's personal life. You could tell a joke that is connecting to an incident that maybe happened to me just a few days back. I'm still healing out of it. I've come out of denial. I'm now moving on, and you seem to be taking me back into the ditch by making it a joke. In the line of jokes, please, colleagues, watch out for your body language. Your body talks significantly, and your body is communicating. The signs and symbols you use. You could be saying, there's one very important point I want to make, and you demonstrate one with a one finger salute. And to some places, the one finger salute is a very bad form of understanding their sensitivity, understanding that all of them need to belong, all of them need to be onboarded. Let someone not feel they're being left out of place. Let someone not feel that you're focusing so much on me and you're coming too close for my comfort in terms of how you're doing your things. I always tell people, your presentation skills, you could have done a lousy visual, colleagues, and your presentation skills will save you. On the other spectrum, the other side of the spectrum, you could have done a wonderful visual and your presentation skills will sink you. You, your boat, and everything, you'll be sunk by the quality of your presentation. It is a skill you need to learn, and presentation is learned via practice. You will not sit and read and say, Nimeiva, I am going to present. Presentation is practice. Whenever you get a chance at the workplace, in the project environments, and maybe something needs to be presented, volunteer and learn and get through the hits and misses, and after some time, you will be the best presenter we can ever have. Colleagues, I want us to stop there. Now we can go into a Q&A. I want to open the floor via chat and via the microphones. As we close, if you have any contribution, comments, if you have any queries you want the team to help you on, please do so. Any comments, contributions, queries, they're welcome. I hope my colleague Dan is somewhere on the line. He should be able to close for us shortly once we pick the arising comments and contributions. The floor is open now.
Okay, maybe I could start.
Yes, Catherine.
Yeah, I think it was a very good course for people to connect with practice, because some of these things, like you noted at the beginning, there are things that you learn in, say, a college setting, or in the learning platforms, but presenting it or removing it from theory to practice is, at least this is one of the ways that I have seen, is very good. That's one thing I can note with the course. It now makes people begin to know what happens and what tooling and what skilling they need to to learn in order to put whatever else that they have in writing, because you learn a whole lot of jargon in college, but when you come, you want to probably show that you know, but the people now want a summary. They don't want to know whether you went to Timbuktu and there was a university there that had a way to do things. They just want brief, precise, and to the point. And I think that's where a lot of HRs get things wrong and get disappointed. And then they don't give themselves time to grow. There's that aspect of agreeing to learn and learn some things and relearn others. And people don't do that. The course was also, I believe, very relevant, short and understandable with the breaks. So that was very, very appreciated. And also as a follow-up of the metrics, which was a lot of mathematical jargons that you need to now get out of and move to an area where you can usefully put them. So I think I enjoyed myself with this course, and I think it makes a lot of sense and builds the skills of people. So thank you very much for the presentation. It was very well done and very, very effective. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you. I'm picking comments from the chat. Lina, you're asking what other sources of data visualization tools would you recommend other than Excel? I think Excel is the one that is common for us. There are other highly advanced tools, and these ones definitely your organization might only invest in them if they are sure of the return on investment. But since Excel comes with a whole lot of possibilities to everyone at everyone's desk, a lot of us prefer Excel. Lina, I will check from my source where I was picking the data. I will pick the issues, and then I will, on my slide, I will put that one. Lucy, you're saying yes. You're saying thank you, Agena senior management member here to be kind to me presenting. Yes, it's correct. Sometimes the people who are presenting just finished from the start, and yet they need to grow. They need to grow. They need to discover their possibilities. Jen, you're asking the type of visualization, the type of tool really matters. Of true. Faith, you're saying the conversation very needful and insightful. And Kum, you're saying we've been using data presentation skills very scientific. We've not put the story behind it, and we will improve. And thank you so much, colleagues, for those comments. I also want to just let you know in my closing comments, even as I will update the PowerPoint to respond to some of these questions, like from Lina, that if you have a wonderful visualization, if you have a very, very nice visualization, it will take the attention of the audience away from you to the visualization. And if you are the sort that is really brought down by butterflies, your butterflies will leave you alone, because now nobody's looking at you. Everybody is deeply engrossed in the presentation. So make sure your presentation the visualization is so wonderful until it takes attention from you, the person, and everyone focuses on the story you are telling and the visual that is presenting itself. Zipporah, you're asking whether there's a major difference in Excel visualization versus W. I think more often than not, it matters to do with the software, and the software guys try to make everything of theirs as interesting as possible. However, remember our principle of simplicity and minimalization. If your simplicity is coming through whichever platform you're using, if you have minimalized, your colors are strong and nice, then any vehicle, any vessel will take you to the very end. Janet, thank you so much for your comment. Colleagues, I want to hand over to my coordinator, Dan. Dan, if you're around, pick it up so that we can now close. Dan. Okay.
Hi, Tom.
Yes, Dan, please, you can close for us now.
Yes. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation, training on data visualization and storytelling, and how we've learned quite interesting for me. I've learned the importance of making it simple, whatever I'm presenting, for ease of my audience to visualize what I'm really, I really want to say. Catherine, Gabi, thank you for your participation. Rosemary, Millicent, Akumu, Zipora, and you say hi to Zachary, to Dr. Zach, and Christine, Carol, Vivian, Margaret, Renai, Buddha Wakideka, and Milka, Jane, Sabrina. Sabrina, a long time I've not heard from you. I hope everyone is all right. Ezekiel Mutai. Ezekiel,
Yes.
are you there?
I'm there.
How is Eldoret?
We are doing fine. We are grateful for the courses that you are mounting. We will keep in touch.
Ezekiel, last week during the Certified Human Resource Business Partner course in Nakuru, Sarova Woodlands. Ezekiel is Director HR at Ampath. Welcome, Ezekiel. Koge, Luce, Adrei, Kagusia, Lina, Janet. Yes, I wanted to, Faith Karanja, I wanted to appreciate every one of you. Sam Sambu, I hope you are eventually able to log into your account. Now, this is what I want to say regarding the accessing your certificate from our portal. Log into achrp.org. I'm writing on the chat, achrp.org. Everyone, the password for all of you is 2021, right somewhere, and it is, sorry, it is one HR 2021 is the password for everyone. The website is achrp.org. Once you log in, you'll go to my courses. You see the display of our website, or the display on that page, my courses, is in tabular format. And those, that table has got columns, and each column is headed. Now, on the column indicated as a presentation, you can be able to view this course. You can also be able to view the recording for this particular training, as well as view the notes together with the additions from our trainer. So you'll go to my courses, then you could go to presentations to view recording and notes, that is the PowerPoint notes. Then there is also the column for certificate. Click on that. You should be able to download your certificate by 4 p.m. That's how the system is set. If you have any question, you can always reach out to me on 0722 300 to 45. Now, for avoidance of doubt, and this is very important for me to make this particular clarification, members of our WhatsApp groups are always allowed to attend the webinars even before payment. Once you participate and you are interested in your CPD certificate, you can always log in to your portal as shown and pay for the course. Again, as outlined, you know your login password and so on. So if you're not in any WhatsApp group, you can send me a text via WhatsApp on that number shared there. My name is Dan. Dan is D, not D. D for doll, Dan. Yeah, that's my name, CHRP Dan Gavito. I'm grateful to have all of you with us today. And I want you to check our training calendar. And again, our posts on WhatsApp groups regarding the sequel to this particular training, which will be HR analytics. Having done the HR metrics and the HR measurement, having done data visualization and storytelling, the third part and the last part towards all this will be the HR analytics course. All our courses are CPD earning. This particular course earns you 1 CPD point. That is now for the HR professionals. Thank you and have a very good afternoon.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely weekend and be blessed. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. Nice weekend.